Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are either watching us live, watching this recording, or listening to the MindShare PodCast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at industrysyndicate.com and mindshare101.com. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. This is episode 12. So he's a public speaker and a real estate coach whose focus is on marketing and technology. From generating leads to lead follow-up and after-sales systems for repeat and referral business, he currently runs BrokerageNation, a collection of 200 real estate offices and over 8,000 agents. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend and our guest today, Mr. Danny Wood. Dan, thank you, my man. Appreciate you being here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for your radio voice. That's on point.
Well, it's the little start into the podcast. It's got to be done properly, but now we sort of bring it down and get back to normal here. And thank you for bearing with us with the technical difficulties. I know that we said we were going live for about 10 o'clock. I'd love to blame it on all the snow outside, which I ripped on in my story earlier, which wasn't snowing, but now it really is. But no, this was more of a technical difficulty. And, well, hey, that's technology for you. But this is the cool stuff it allows us to do. So speaking of, you've got a really cool list of apps that we want to talk about today. We want to get into sort of this top tech tools. But just before we do that, and I brought this up to you last night as we were trying to sort of chit-chatting a little bit, I want to mention to everybody that Dan, amongst the many, many different things he can do to help your business, and I mean, I will tell you, I leverage this guy as a total go-to just for if I've got random questions about tech or anything, he really knows his stuff. But there is one service that for me, because, I talk a lot about MindShare, which I think is really cool stuff, that he does, and that's creating the remarketing ads, those banner ads you see when you go from one website to another. And personally, I love this stuff. I know a lot of people get very annoyed by it these days, but I think it's a wicked mindshare builder. And I think that if you've got the money and you've got the setup, the infrastructure around it, this stuff can be very, very powerful. So it's like you go to one site, you shop for shoes, then you go to another site, and all of a sudden you see these banner ads pop up. And Dan, the reason I bring this up is that over the past 2 weeks in the MindShare Challenge, we have focused very heavily on online lead generation as well as prospecting. And of all the advertising we can do, again, I think this stuff is really, really cool stuff to help create awareness, or as I like to call it, build mindshare. But we all get hit with it all the time. And our clients, realtors, are constantly looking for how they can implement this online marketing. So in short, and just again, a very short little thing on this, but I know you can help them with this. And you guys should all know Danny can help you with this, but it's important to note that those ads cost money. They cannot be a standalone strategy. So can you just give us sort of like your 2 cents on what they need to be thinking about, what they need to be setting up to make this stuff work? Should they have a farm area? What should they be budgeting? Aside from just the ad, what does it need to be connected to, like a CRM or any other marketing, in order to have any effect? Can you just share just a couple seconds on that?
Yeah, sure. So it's through the Google remarketing is through the Google network. And so the program that we do, it's actually 2 programs in one. It's Google remarketing is when a person goes to your website, they leave your website, they'll start seeing your ads everywhere. The other program is anybody in your specific postal code or zip code, regardless if they've been to your website, they'll also start seeing your ads everywhere. So there's a couple rules when we do it based on zip code, postal code, or farming area. They have to be over the age of 30. They can't be looking at bad content. So we used about 4,000 negative words. So if that word is on the page, your ad won't load. So you don't want your advertising being on a page that talks about war, terrorism, sex, drugs, anything like that. So
good point.
We used that as a negative. And we do a shared budget. So when you do, it's all through Google. People use different terms, but they all use Google because that's what it's run through. And so yeah, it's Google remarketing. It's only for people that are looking for a branding play. It is not a lead generator. So when I get somebody calling me up that wants to sign up for it, I'm like, do you want leads from this program? And if they say yeah, I'm like, that's not the right program. I have a program that will generate leads for you. This one is not a fit. If you have a farm area and you're doing direct mail, billboards, door knocking, and being proactive in a specific farm area, then you 100% need this because it's only $50 a month. and on average, it gets 60 to 90,000 impressions. So that's just an impression on the screen, reminding them it's like a floating business card of who you are and what you do.
Beautiful. So now in order to get it, so you just mentioned again, it's not a standalone. It's not going to be generating leads. This is more of complete awareness is really what it's in place for. And if somebody clicks on that ad, where does it go? What happens with that? Just so people get a complete understanding of what this stuff really does.
Yeah, for the most part, people just take it right to their website. There's a team that we're setting it up right now for, and they're taking it to their team page, and they have a video at the top just talking about the team and explaining who they are and what they do, because that's what it is. It's branding. So it's a perfect message.
Right. So now, sort of to piggyback off of that, when we talk about it again with my challengers very specifically, but for anybody else who's heard me rant about this stuff before, but the ad takes somebody to a website. It's got to connect to something. So you now need to have a website set up. It goes without saying, but let's remember, cost for the ad, cost for the site. Now, once they get to the site, you probably want to try to capture some information. So you need to now, beyond maybe your video or maybe an ebook, but you've got to have some lead capture in there. Right? So like they've got to have a reason to be able to put in their information. Now, when they put in their information, where is it going? It should be going to a CRM, which let's just call it what it is. There's another cost to that. And then once you've got in the CRM, you can let them sit there and rot, or you can really try to convert and nurture these leads. Well, that's where marketing comes in, which again, I just want to bring light to. By the way, there's another cost to that. So just doing online advertising, again, it can work. It can be very supportive for a lot of different marketing you do, but you've always got to remember there's a budget that's got to be watched for, and there's got to be support tools that really bring it all together.
I can give you a laundry list. Typically, I expect for a real estate website can range between $50 to $100 a month. And most real estate websites have a built-in CRM, so that's a bonus. If you need to get a CRM, then they kind of range from $50 to $80. You can get them cheaper as well, but that's kind of the range I budget for on there. If I'm doing budgeting for my marketing, I'll pretty much stick around the $300 to $600 a month range for my marketing on a personal level. One thing I like to suggest to people is that you don't want to generate more than 50 to 100 leads a month per person on your team, because if you do, they're just going to start cherry picking the easy stuff, and you're paying for wasted leads.
Great point, man. Thank you. So I just wanted to sort of touch on that high level today and just kind of reinforce, because that's a big message that I deliver to people. And it's not, again, saying that it doesn't work. I think very, very specifically, it can do some wonderful things, but we've got to really, truly understand. Just very quickly, I had a challenger of mine a couple months ago. We were talking. She says, and whatever, admittedly, she goes, I play Candy Crush. And down at the bottom of my screen all the time, I'm always seeing an ad from a competitor of mine. How does that whole thing work? I want to do that. And so we went into this whole thing of like what it takes to make it work, which naturally I brought up your name to be able to assist with it. But it was more of this thing of going, let's talk about what your support tools are and what budgeting looks like first before we go, let's just throw an ad out there. So there's just a lot more involved in it than just, putting an ad up, right?
Yeah, we make it easy for people. If people are interested, it's $50 a month. Month to month, cancel anytime. We charge in Canadian dollars. And I got the idea from a competitor, so you can look them up. It's called AdWorks. Go ahead and check them out. That's where I got the idea from, because one of my clients was using them. And I was looking at the numbers, and I'm like, man, I can kill that. So for the same money she was spending at AdWorks, we're just getting her more impressions, and that's what she wanted.
And you guys all know, for many of you that know, AdWorks are friends of mine. I love what they do, but Danny's one of my boys as well. And I mean, for the fact that he does it, I mean, he's there, he's hands-on for you. And quite frankly, for the cost factor, I mean, again, you're not just getting probably a third of the cost for this stuff through him, but at the same time, you're getting a ton of knowledge from this guy. Whereas again, you're not dealing with some massive Fortune 500, but you've got that tie-in to be able to go, hey, I've got an issue, or can you tell me more about? So he's got a wealth of knowledge. And
thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Just to be clear, it's actually about the same cost, only in Canadian dollars. It's just for the same cost, you're getting like triple the results as far as the numbers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of that, I mean, that gives us a perfect segue into, you've got a really cool list of tech tools that you want to share with us today. Let's get into that. Like, tell us what you've got. And as you're doing that, try to, help our audience understand how can they use some of this stuff to help them build a little bit more mind share out there.
Sure. So I just hit share my screen, and it says host disabled, participant screen sharing.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's see if we can get stop, remove, forbid, record, make a co-host.
While you're doing that, I'm going to explain something. So somewhere where AdWorks does shine above us is that they have a back end where you can log in and upload your own listings. So every week or every month, you could just change out the image and put whatever your listing is. So that's pretty cool that they do that. So I'm not knocking them. It's a great company.
Oh, they're good people too, man. I
Yeah.
mean, again, they're friends. You know what I mean? So absolutely,
Yeah.
you should have that control now, buddy.
Oh, okay.
That see if that
I do.
works for you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You got it. All right, let's get right into
Cool.
this.
Cool.
So let me do this. All right, we're going to share our screen. So I'm going to basically do like the David Letterman top 10, only it's going to be the Danny Wood top 30 or whatever. So just a quick little synopsis about me. I started in 2007. Right away, I set up a team. And I didn't like dealing with the buyers or the sellers because I felt really young and unconfident. So I decided to wear one hat and just generate leads and book those appointments and give them to other agents on a split. So I set up a team right away, never showed a property, and then that turned into BrokerageNation. So now I do group coaching. I help agents with generating their own leads. And on average, I would get about 20,000 leads a year. I work about 30 hours a week, so it's very flexible. And I travel and work remotely full time. So every month I move to a new city, and it's because of the technology that I leverage. So I'm not stuck to one place. So today I'm going to share with you the technology that I use, ideas on how you can use it as a real estate agent, and then I'm going to give you all of the links as well.
And for those, sorry, Dan, for those of you listening to the podcast, the audio, Dan's going to provide us a couple show notes after the fact. So again, and he's going to do his best right now to obviously, because you can't see the screen, sort of really explain everything that he's going through.
No, for the podcast listeners, I'm going to be very intentional so that they get full value out of this. So I'm going to explain everything. You're not missing anything if you don't see it. So don't worry if you're listening. Just know that there's going to be a lot we're covering, and they're all funny words because every company just created their own funny logo. So the first one is AppSumo. So if you've never heard of AppSumo, go to appsumo.com. If you're watching this screen, the link is at the top of the screen. And what AppSumo does is this is how I discover all the technology that I use. So you've heard of Groupon, and Groupon will send you a massive deal on like manicures, pedicures, things to do, events, stuff like that. AppSumo is the same thing, only for technology. So about once a week, they'll send out a mass email to everybody and say, hey, we got this program. If you buy it now for $45, you have a lifetime membership. So a great example was just this week. I have a booking tool that allows people to book one-on-one coaching calls with me. On average, I do about 8 or 9 a day. And this doesn't cost me a lot. It's about $30 a month for what I use. And AppSumo just yesterday emailed me out a deal for an appointment booking software. And it was like $45 lifetime membership. So now I get to cancel that other program I was using. So you go to AppSumo, create an account, and they'll just send you a deal. And if you like it, buy it. And if you don't like it, just skip it. But most of the technology I'm about to share with you, I discovered through AppSumo. So it's not like I'm some sort of sneaky genius. I just have people.
I've always been wondering about this stuff, man. Like, where do you
Yep.
find all these things?
Yeah, no, AppSumo just like gives me the alert. And when I like that, what they do, I'll look for other companies that kind of compete with them and see what the best is. So anyways, it's free to create an account, and you'll just get an email about once a week. So head on over to AppSumo. The first tool that I want to share with you is called GoCallPage. GoCallPage puts a little widget on your website that allows people to call you. So on the bottom right of my website, it will have a little pop-up, and it will pop up and say, would you like to receive a free callback within 28 seconds? And the consumer will enter their phone number and hit yes. When that happens, my phone starts ringing, and it basically says, you have a lead. And then it connects me with that person. And there is no better lead that I can generate than a real live voice on the phone. So if you're doing the Google remarketing and getting traffic to your website, or doing any sort of pay-per-click, if you can get people just instantly clicking to receive a free callback, everybody is blown away. They're like, oh my God, I didn't think anybody would actually call. I'm like, yep, it's me. I'm a real person. And that is through GoCallPage. Now, if an agent does not have traffic, they do not need this, because if they don't have traffic, nobody is going to see it. So for the agents listening to this call that actually do generate a lot of traffic to their website, this is my number one tool that I recommend that you need to get added, because the best lead is voice to voice. Now, if you want another tool that helps converting leads, it's called Intercom. Intercom, intercom.com. Intercom adds instant chat to your website, because a lot of people don't want to fill in a form giving you name, phone number, and email. They just want to kick the tire. I discovered about instant chat technology, early on, like 2009-ish. And I heard about it at a conference. I was at a real estate conference. I left the conference as soon as I heard about it, went back to my hotel room. It took me about 4 hours to set it up. And by dinner that evening, I had 16 conversations, and I was blown away. I'm like, this is unbelievable, because the people didn't want to give me their name, phone number, and email. They just wanted to ask questions. Where's this property located? How many bedrooms? Whatever. The taxes. They would just ask random stuff. And it allowed them to ask the question. It would come to my cell phone like a text message, and I would just reply back and take over. So using any form of instant chat is awesome. I happen to use Intercom, but there's a bunch of them out there.
Now, are you the one responding when this comes in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what happens if somebody asks us a question and you are, I don't know, recording a podcast right now, or you're in a meeting, or you're on a coaching call? What happens?
You can schedule it so that you have time off. So you can schedule. So say I'm like every Monday I do my prospecting from 10 to 12. I can tell it I'm off 10 to 12, and it will automatically turn off. And then also the app allows me to turn it on and off on the fly.
Very cool.
Yeah, they do have automation, but it sucks. It makes you look like an idiot. So I don't use the automation at all.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I know that the call thing with the 28 seconds, I mean, I see that pop up on your stuff all the time. And I think I know we've talked about that one before, and it's actually for real. It's pretty cool. Dude,
I'll get like 2 or 3 a day. It's not like overwhelming, but I mean, I convert 90% of the people I talk to voice to voice.
There's the difference, right? Like, there's the thing about it, is that you've got it set up, and it's not just one of these automation tools where you set it and forget it and walk away. You're still very much engaged, but what this is doing is actually giving somebody that thing of like, hey, I'll be right there for you. And then there you are. And now that's the beginning of a good relationship.
You know what, man? It builds that mind share of know you, like you, trust you right from the get-go.
Totally, right?
This other tool, I really love it. It's called sumo.com. It used to be called Sumo Me, and then they paid $1 million to drop the ME from the name, which is hilarious. So they paid $1 million. Anyways, it's now called Sumo. So if you just go to sumo.com, they have 2 tools. The first tool helps me convert 8% of all my traffic. So if I get, let's just say I only got 100 people to my website today, I'll get 8 leads from that organically by using this tool. Have you ever been to a website where when you go to the website, it pops up and it says, hey, like our page or subscribe now? Yeah, that's what this does, only it's not annoying. It will only do it on a rule base. So it lets the people watch your videos, look at all your listings, fill in the forms, read the content. It will never pop up until they are leaving your website. So when they go to hit the back arrow, change the URL, or close the browser, then it pops up. As soon as that mouse goes above into that area of the browser, it's like asking fries. Do you want fries with that? Just on the way out, it's just like an upsell. And it's rule-based, so it knows what page they're on. So if they're on a seller page, it'll pop open with the seller message. If they're on a buyer page, it pops open with the buyer message. If they're looking at townhomes, it will pop open talking about townhomes. So you can create all these different rules. And once you have those rules created, it's set it and forget it. And it integrates with a lot of the CRMs as well.
That's a cool one. I like that. And I know I've been to those before where you you go to click the X button, all of a sudden it's like they know that you're about to click that X button, and here they go asking you if you want to leave, are you sure, whatever. I think that stuff's very cool.
8%, you might as well. And so that
and Dan, you can tie this into any website out there?
Yep.
Perfect.
You can. And So that tool helps me convert 8%. They have another tool. They have about 5 tools in total. 3 of them are trash. These are the only two you have to look at. The first one was called the List Builder. This one is called the Smart Bar. So the Sumo Smart Bar. What the Sumo Smart Bar does is it puts a banner on the top of every page on your website. Because a lot of real estate agents, they have a pretty picture of a kitchen and they're photoshopped and they're cut out and they look great. And there's no call to action. Well, what this does is it puts a call to action at the top of every page so that people don't have to scroll down. Because what I find is a lot of real estate agents, their website, if you want to fill in a form, it's asking like 30 questions. You have to scroll down to hit the submit button. This puts the submit button and the form at the above of every page. So every listing that they're looking at, the generic call to action we use is it says, don't miss out on tomorrow's new listings. Easily subscribe today by email, and we just capture their email because we're trying to keep that form as simple as possible because we don't want to take up too much room because it's at the top of every page. And it's also rule-based, so it knows what page they're on, so it can change based on that. And you can change it on the fly. So if you have a buyer seminar, an investing seminar, featured property, find out what your home is worth, you can change the banner on the go. So all consumers, even you, could use that on your website.
Yeah, no, I'm buddy, I'm loving this list so far. I'm taking some diligent notes here because I think that one of the things that I'm going to do, at least specifically in our MindShare Challenge private group, is dig into some of this stuff and really do a hands-on tutorial for some people so they can fully understand what they can do with this stuff.
So each of the products I talk about, my YouTube channel has a tutorial, and I've got over 500 videos.
Beautiful.
So talking about landing pages and websites, use whatever website you use, but there's a time and place when you need a landing page. For me, for example, say I tell Google doing a Google pay-per-click, if anybody searches, I'm from Oshawa, so if anybody searches Oshawa open houses, I want my ad to appear. When they click on that, I want them to land on a landing page that only talks about Oshawa open houses. And so a lot of agents have a hard time creating pages on their own website. So I use Weebly, and I generate, I don't even know, like tens of thousands of leads I generate through Weebly, because you can use other landing page builders and they're about $100 a month. Some of them are like $300 a month. This is $9 a month. And it's just drag and drop and it works, man. Like you don't need.
How many pages can you create for $9 a month?
As many as you want.
And now you've created your page. Have you connected that to your website or no? It's a standalone page.
No, I don't do it. I don't connect it on my website at all. It's just a standalone page. Yeah, it's just a page talking about that one specific topic. And yeah.
Is there any lead capture on there? Is there anything on there that
yeah, that's yeah, that's what it's built for, is lead capture. So if I'm talking about house values, I would just use my house value page on my website, but I'll go back to the open house one. Say I want to make a landing page about open houses. I would have a video. I would have a video saying, hey, it's Danny Wood at ABC Realty. If you're looking for a list of open houses this weekend, just fill in the form below. We're going to get you a list of all the open houses this weekend, plus match you up with daily emails that match the criteria of what you're looking for in a property. As a buyer agent, you don't pay my fees. I'm a real person. I'm going to be following up. So that's the video I would have on the landing page. And then I would have a simple contact form that says, describe the property you're looking for, name, phone number, email. We do it in that order because if you tell them to describe the property, they've already started typing. If you start off with name, phone number, and email, it's like there's hesitation and resentment for that. But we start off with just describe your property. A lot of real estate agents use these forms that already have fields like price range, age of home, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and all this stuff. Get rid of that. You don't need all of that. All you need to know is their name, phone number, and email, and make it as simple as possible for them to fill in the form.
And then that form is going where?
Oh, your database. All agents use different CRMs, so that's like a whole another can of worms.
Okay, right. So what if they can't figure, and I know Zapier, you're going to get into that, and I know what that's about, but what if they don't have that connection from their landing page to their CRM, or maybe technical, they just can't figure that stuff out? How do they get that data from that landing page and then maybe even manually put it in? But what happens with that data?
Well, Webly allows you to create a free form using their form builder, and it will just email the agent the information. Then they
Okay,
could
cool.
copy and paste. So that's old school. They also integrate with Zapier and a bunch of other CRMs as well. That's a technical question on another call, but
Yeah, totally. No. Just I want to bring a little context to that because again, a lot of these times we see a lot of this cool stuff, and we're out there, and the bright shiny object syndrome pumps in, and
yeah,
here we go going to buy something without understanding that connectivity, right? Because I mean, again, if you say some of these things are $100 a month, this thing could be $9 a month.
yeah.
It's a great savings, but let's
Oh,
understand what we're doing with that, right?
yeah, totally.
And I think you brought up, I think you brought up a good point. I don't know if it was on this one or another video you did that I watched, but it was that simplicity of like, oh, it's only $9. Let's go spend it. Then all of a sudden the next one comes up. Oh, it's only $25. Let's go spend it. Next thing you know, a few months down the road, you're $400 or $500 deep because you've got all these small monthly fees.
Yeah, that's why I like AppSumo, because it shows me products I can just buy lifetime membership. Like
Yeah.
right now, I've got stock images on a lifetime membership. I got all this stuff that I used to pay a lot for, and now it's just like I paid $45 one time.
Cool.
So going back to when you got the lead, and some agents would have to copy and paste and put it into their database. That's how I discovered the
Are we having a few
this
little...
fifth tool, which is called, and it's automated. So it basically will copy and paste the information from one program to another program. So when you get a lead, I used to get leads from my franchise. I used to get leads from my own personal website, my blog, Craigslist and Kijiji. Facebook get leads from all these different sources. And what happens is those sources just send the agent the email. Well, what Zapier does is it will scrape that email, copy and paste, and put it into your CRM and launch the proper follow-up. So Zapier is like a blessing, man. It works with over 750 apps and programs. So if you go to Zapier.com, you can just scroll down and you'll be like, oh my God, I use this, I use this, I use this. And now what it does is it connects everything. A simple example would be, you could say, you create rules. So you would say, for every email that I get that has an attachment, automatically add that attachment to my Dropbox. And then it will just check every 15 minutes and make that happen for you. Or you could say, every lead that I get from this source, put them into this CRM and launch this plan. And you create a timeline, and it just checks that timeline every like 5 or 15 minutes, depending. So if I go to use a piece of technology, before I sign up for them, I go to Zapier to make sure that they work with it. This is my number one deciding factor. If that tool does not work with Zapier, then what I do is I go to Google and I type in the name of the tool and search their competitors and see if they work with Zapier. Because whoever works with Zapier gets my business, because it'll integrate with everything.
Yeah, they've created a very cool connection point with that stuff.
So I'm going to touch briefly on a CRM. Agile CRM is just a cheap one that's out there that's very scalable. So if agents need a CRM, this is one to look at. But I know there's one that you are a big fan of as well. What's the name of that one?
We've got Loop CRM, which is provided by Kits. Again, it's part and parcel to sort of, using the entire Keep in Touch program. So it does a lot of the output where it's not just taking in the data per se, but it's got, the email tools that go out. It's got some social media content. It's got the drip campaigns. It's got, geo search tools. I mean, you can go in there and do your other marketing like farming flyers, direct mail. It's got a website connected. So it's definitely, I mean, it's a very all-encompassing system that really takes everything under the umbrella and kind of puts it into one place. And I mean, at only $17.95 a month, it's a great option.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I've always used multiple databases for different reasons. I used one strictly for my internet lead conversion, and I used another one for my past clients. So if you're looking at and need a second option, that's a good one because it's free. But then for all the bells and whistles, you start paying. It's about $30 a month for the good stuff.
Yeah.
Now outsourcing. This is why I'm able to live and work remotely full time on the road chasing the sun. Can
we share what you're up to right now, just for 2 seconds?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm on a 3-year road trip. I move to a new city every month based on weather. And so I'm in Texas right now, and I'm going to go for a run after this call.
Wicked, man. It's just, I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, if I could do it all off of the bike,
yeah,
I'd be following you around a little bit.
And so what really changed my business and my life was reading The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. It's a book on outsourcing. And that totally got me out of my own way. And so, like, for example, I just hired a new girl yesterday because I have 500 YouTube videos. What I want to do is I'm paying a girl to watch those videos and then write up an article. And it's going to be a unique article based on that video. And then I'm going to submit it to real estate magazines.
Okay.
And yeah, so I don't have to do the writing. What she's going to do is she's going to write it for me, and then I'm going to polish it off. So yeah, anything you can get done, you can find somebody else to do better than you, basically, if it can be done from a computer. So I used to get people to, do I have an example? Yeah. I used to get people to make my feature sheets. And this is called Upwork.com, by the way. So if you go to upwork.com, upwork.com, you post a job for what it is that you want done. My first mistake was hiring one virtual assistant to do everything. I hired her full time. And it ended up becoming a full-time job keeping her busy. So now what I do is I hire people that are only good at one thing. I hire one guy that's good at video editing. Another person only does my banner ads in Photoshop. I have another guy that does just the tech stuff. I have a girl that does the writing. So I've got all these different people, and I pay them per project. So if I have a video that needs editing, we set up a flat fee, and I just send them the files and they do it. And therefore I'm not paying them hourly and trying to create work for them. So,
sorry, I've been to that site before, so I'm familiar with it. For anybody who hasn't been there, when you get there and you're looking for somebody to, per se, edit a video, you kind of type that in, or you can do your search there, but you're going to get a lot of results from different people that sort of, hey, I can do this. Here's my rate.
I got a trick.
Sorry?
Oh, I got the best trick.
I was going to say, how do you filter that, right? How do you go, oh, I'm going to choose this guy versus that girl? Or whatever?
Yeah, okay. So on average, you'll get 20 or 30 people who will apply for your job. I don't even read their resumes because they're all going to bullshit anyways. Yeah. So what I do is I trick them. I say that the job requires a resume, but then at the bottom in the fine print of the ad, I say no resume required. This was just a trick to see if you read the full thing. So that's one thing I do. The other one is I'll only hire the people that have already got experience on Upwork, meaning they've made at least $100 and that they have 4-star reviews. Other than that, I'll hire 3 people all to do the same job. So this girl that's doing the writing, I'm actually hiring 3 of them, and they all have the same tasks. And later on next week, I'll see who did the best work. Going forward, that person wins. So
you'll pay for the initial, let's say 3 of them to do it, but that allows you to filter out and go, this is the quality.
Totally. Yep. It's like my time is worth more than it takes to filter everything else out. So a virtual assistant, I would get them to do our feature sheets. So when that's a good one. Doing your just listed ads, so you can structure anything that's repeatable. You can get a virtual assistant to do for you. Blogging, I used to get my virtual assistants to blog for me, but they wouldn't actually blog because the quality wasn't there. What they would do is write the articles for me and save them in a Google Doc, and then I would pick and choose. That way, I'm not looking at a blank screen, and I could just like leverage that and be like, okay, 80% of this article's done. Now I'm going to spin it.
Yeah, cool.
They would create my prospecting lists. So for sale by owners, for example, every week they would give me a list of for sale by owners, and database cleanup. So I just did a conference a couple days ago, and I got 200 business cards. So when I was at the airport, I just lined them all up and took pictures of like 20 at a time, sent it to a VA, and they've already emailed me the Excel sheet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Speaking of virtual assistants or in-house assistants, you're going to have to give your username and password for them to get access and to work for you. So I use LastPass. That's one of the tools I want to share with you. It's called LastPass.com. What I like about LastPass is it's free from the consumer's point of view, but if you're a business and you want a team, it costs $20 per person per year, which is still really cheap. And so my virtual assistant will have one username and password, and if they leave, I change that at access, and I can leave all my usernames and passwords intact. Really, really cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I use Trello, Trello, Trello.com. Yeah, Trello.com. This is my virtual workspace where I organize all my projects, to-do lists, that sort of thing. So I really use it mostly for my virtual assistants. When I create a job, I'll put the title and all the files that go along with it. There's different ways you can use Trello. I know a lot of real estate agents use it for their listings, for like a coming soon checklist, just listed checklist. When in your show notes, I'm going to give you these links,
Cool.
and your agents will get all of my checklists to have for free.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, man. BombBomb, I'll be quick on BombBomb because I believe you've talked about it in the past, but BombBomb is like the best tool. It allows you to create a video on your phone, and when you're done that video, it says, where do you want to send it? Through text or through email. You'll text the person's number, and it will send them that video through text, or it sends it to them through email. Because if you don't use BombBomb and you make a video on your phone, good luck trying to share it. It's going to be too big of a file. The quality is going to be diminished. They don't even get it. It's like such a nightmare. And so why would an agent want to send a person video? Well, I use video for my lead follow-up. If I got a lead today right now, I would call them. And because it's today, 2019, they're not going to answer the phone. So I'm going to hang up that phone and I'm going to send them a BombBomb video. And it's basically going to be like a visual voicemail. And I'm going to share with them like who I am and why I'm following up.
It's cool. BombBomb's again, some other buddies of mine. You can connect with Alicia. She is awesome. At the same time, too, if anybody does need a free trial account, for those of you that at least are members of Kits, you can go in through the back end, go into marketing, click on the BombBomb icon, and there is a free trial available to you from the Kits system. So that's pretty cool stuff, and I would highly recommend checking it out.
And I got something they can leverage also. Go to BrokerageNation.com/BombBomb, and it gives them a 90-day game plan with scripts on calling and videoing their database for 90 days. It's a whole they can even fill in their information, and it will trigger a weekly reminder, kind of like automated coaching.
Nice.
Yeah, BrokerageNation.com/BombBomb. So the 11th tool that I want to talk about is called Box Brownie. They're in Australia, but they charge you in Canadian dollars. And essentially what it is, it's a photography company that takes the photos that your photographer did and then makes them amazing. So for example, say you have a rental property and you go through and you take all these photos and the tenant has their junk all over the place, like on the counters and stuff. They will digitally remove all the stuff that doesn't belong with the property. A good example would be when you're in a two-piece washroom and you're taking a picture, like you or the photographer is always in the mirror. They will remove you from that mirror. They also will turn on the lights in the house, brighten everything up, fix the contrast. If you're on got a condo listing and you're on the balcony, either the foreground's in focus or the background's in focus, so it like the exposure is out of whack. They will take both and overlay them and fix it. So you pay per photo. So it's not a monthly service. You're like, I want to do Facebook ads on this listing. Pick the best photo that you have, and then for like $2 to $5, they will make that photo look like so much better, like night and day. Even though the photos your photographer's given you are amazing, this just like enhances it so much more. And it's a pay-as-you-go. They charge you in Canadian dollars.
Yeah, my buddy Michael Farrow is actually over there. He's their director of strategic partnerships over at Box Brownie, but he's from the U.S. Great guy. But I've met a lot of the crew from Australia. They're also very, very good people.
Yeah, man, totally. Number 12 on the list is SOC referrals. That stands for send out cards. And I was a big unbeliever in it. I didn't want anything to do with them. They're like a multi-level marketing direct mail. Why I like send out cards is because it allows me to send gifts. And so like when I do a coaching call, I will send a person a box of brownies with a card. And then it says for extra brownie points or something like that. Yeah, no, hashtag brownie points, I say. So hashtag brownie points.
I haven't gotten any brownies yet.
You haven't been a coaching client. And so it says on the card, for extra brownie points, please pass it forward because your referrals would be sweet. Do you know anyone else I could coach? And on the inside of the card, it has a laundry list of who I am and what I do. Send Out Cards is a multi-level marketing company. And on the back of the card, they used to have all about becoming a distributor. A couple of years ago, they removed that. So that's why I joined, because I'm like, oh, I can use this and I don't have to talk about the company. And it creates a drip plan. So then I could say 3 months later, I want to send them a gift card. And it will automatically put a gift card of Starbucks in the card and mail it to them. And it will handwrite my handwriting. So when I became a member, I had to write out the alphabet, capital A, lower a, capital B, lower B. And when they print my card, it does it in my handwriting because it uses my own font. So the card that I send to people when they get a gift card, it says, Rebecca, it's a crazy digital world we live in. People have big friend lists, but many are actually friendless. Touch screens are slowly making us lose touch, and FaceTime has replaced face-to-face. Please take the gift card and treat a friend or family member with gratitude. Who knows what conversations will brew? Live, love, laugh, Dan. And it's got the gift card. It's not me saying number one agent. It's not me asking for referrals. It's just a true, good, cool experience. And they might not even reach out and say thank you. But guess what? When I do call them in the future, they're probably going to answer the phone.
And you just got to watch the chicken test when you're right the first.
Oh, sorry. There is feedback. What'd you say?
Yeah, you got to watch the chicken scratch as you like your handwriting, right? Most people aren't using a pen anymore. It's like you kind of want to write it out a little bit properly.
Yeah, you got your wife to do it.
Yeah, yeah, but then it's like girl writing. I mean, you can always tell the difference, right? They're nice and clean. They're bubbly.
Right.
I write like a doctor.
So number 13 on my list is Canva. Canva is where we go to do drag and drop editing for our ads. So a lot of people don't know how to use Photoshop or Illustrator. This is just a free version that is really, really intuitive. I have a whole 1-hour webinar showing agents how to create ads from scratch on Canva. So you can just go to my YouTube channel if you want. But check it out. It's totally free. Canva is amazing.
Yeah, I was just telling my challengers about that the other day. And for anybody who happened to maybe possibly by chance see the ad that I created for today's live, just again, very, very simply, I went in there. It took me about 3 minutes. I uploaded the image of Dan. I brought in a couple words. I brought in the MindShare podcast logo. I dropped that in. I grabbed some, a couple of the templated sort of areas to write some copy, wrote what I wanted, changed the color from black to white. And I mean, literally within 3 or 4 minutes, I had this stuff posted up, which was really, really easy. Canva's very cool.
What's neat about Canva is it actually has the different sizes. So you can say, I'm going to create a Facebook ad, or I'm going to create an Instagram post, or I'm going to create a LinkedIn banner, or I don't know if LinkedIn has banners, a Twitter banner or whatever. Yep. And it will create the canvas. That's why it's called Canva, because it creates the canvases, the size that you need them. And the main reason why we use it is for our listing ads. So when we have a listing, every listing we get, we'll pay $400 a month. And on average, we get 100 leads a month from that. And the ad that we use is the photo of the property that we get enhanced through Box Brownie for $5. And then we take it to Canva and we create a template. So it's the photo of the property, and on the bottom is a banner with us cut out, like the agent cut out. And then it says just listed and has the logo. And we just have that saved in Canva. So all we have to do is drag and drop the photo and hit save.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Just from a time check here, looking maybe about 5 minutes before we're wrapping up. Do you? Okay. I mean, and what I want to do, if you're good with it, I'd love to, because I know there's about 30 of these. I'd love to do a round 2 with this if you're in, and this way because I mean, there are some wicked apps here, and I want to make sure we cross to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I'll end off on this one then. So Boomerang for Gmail. Now, if you're watching this, the screenshot looks like trash. This is their website. It looks like you're going to get a virus. I did not trust them at first, but I've been using them for 5 years, and I love it. Why I like Boomerang for Gmail is because have you ever got an email and you accidentally clicked on it and you're like, man, I didn't want to open this because I can't reply right away. Like you're in the middle of something, and if you don't reply right away, you're going to forget later. You can just hit a button and it will boomerang it and come back to you, and you can say boomerang this in an hour, boomerang this tomorrow morning, and it disappears from your inbox and then comes back. So that's one. It allows you to clean up your inbox. Number 2 is like when you send an email, you can check a little box when you're sending it that says boomerang this if they don't reply, or boomerang this if they don't open it. So if I send something, like say I send something really important to me, which is a billing link. If I send a client a billing link and they don't open that within 5 days, then I know they're not going to pay me. So it's going to boomerang back to me and be like, hey, these people didn't even open the link yet, so of course they didn't pay you. So you can boomerang it if they don't open. And you can also, with Gmail, you can open up an email and hit send. That's it. But with Boomerang in Gmail, it allows you to type up an email and send it at a later date and send it at a reoccurring time frame. So let's say we have a client whose home is closing next week. Most real estate agents would go into their Gmail, send them a copy of the MLS, a copy of the contract, and all the paperwork. They're going to send them an email and say, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Well, since you already have all those files on your computer, you just typed up an email. What we do is we send another email, only it's scheduled to go out in 11 months. So I say send this in 11 months because it's the anniversary of their closing. And so we'll send it out in 11 months. And it says something simple like, hey, Joey, see attached. It's all the paperwork and contracts in case you need it for insurance, refinancing, mortgage, or real estate. I'm always here for you. And then we'll send that out in 11 months on a 4-year reoccurring schedule. And that is the best real estate drip that you can put a person on. It didn't take you any time to log into a database or a CRM. And we just do it through Boomerang.
That's very cool.
Yeah, man. Okay,
cool.
so we'll end off on that because this next one takes a little time to explain.
Okay.
So I think we'll probably have 3 sessions. We'll do this one, and then I got so much more for your group, so I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, buddy. Listen, this has been some very, very cool stuff. And the reality of just cutting it off at this point, I think we're about 45-ish minutes deep right now. I know that people's attention spans, as well as everybody else's time, is very valuable. We want to turn this into our audio podcast to release this Friday. It might go out Thursday, so everybody watch for that, but I'll let everybody know. But yeah, just from that sense, I think for everybody's attention span, I certainly want to circle back on this. So, buddy, I really, really appreciate you taking the time today. Very quickly, before we go, where can people find you? And I know that we had that at the bottom of the screen a moment ago. But I mean, is it BrokerageNation? Where should they go?
Yeah, if you go to BrokerageNation and use the callback within 28 seconds or fill in any form, you'll get me. I'm the only one who follows up. And my email is coaching@danwood.ca. My phone number is 905-903-5442.
Love it, buddy. Thank you, guys. Everybody, if you haven't connected with Danny before, I know many of you have, but if you have not, make sure you find him. Again, like I said, for me, even personally, beyond just a friend, he certainly is a go-to resource, as you can tell. He's got a wealth of knowledge for all of us, especially us in this real estate industry. Okay, so you either watched us live, watched the recording, or you're listening to this on iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, or even Spotify. Or maybe you went to industrysyndicate.com or even mindshare101.com. Wherever you like to consume your content, please rate, review, and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at mindshare101 and on Instagram at davidgreenspan101. This has been another episode of the MindShare Podcast. Thanks everyone for watching and listening.